Tia Fuller, how are you?
I'm good. How are
So,
you?
so this we're gonna have to clarify something off the bat
Okay.
because we just gotta make sure that everyone understands. So there's very few people that when I'm in the room with, everyone knows I'm very happy, excited, because there's an energy that exchange that happens when you walk into a room, and I am just trying to, in my desire to be in alignment, to honor myself, and in honoring myself, I feel like you should allow everyone to see the best in themselves like a reflection. And that is, my sister, that is such a gift and a blessing. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. And
Aw.
I want to start with that.
Thank you.
Because I'm not going to
Isabel.
hold back my excitement of you being in this room.
You're sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I'm
Yeah.
going to continue to go with, because you're always schooling us in the best ways and with the most grace. And when you talk about the Diamond Cut album, right? Let's just,
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, we're just going to go for this.
Okay.
Right? And when you talk about the process of a diamond, right?
Yes.
And you talk about the needed pressure. You with me?
Yes.
And then you take that understanding and then you transition it into art, but it's also a process that you do as a human. And then we see it in your art form, which is your music. How does that feel to you when you hear other people hearing it, and how does it feel to you to experience your own music?
Uh, it's extraordinary in a lot of ways. But it also, for me, it's affirmation of me walking in my purpose. And in light of Diamond Cut, that whole transitional cyclic process of sharing energy, giving love and light, and then receiving it, reflecting it, and then pouring into others, and allowing this, like I was saying, the cyclic process to happen. That was the whole meaning and the impetus of Diamond Cut, of that three, and you had touched on it, the 3-part process of looking like a piece of coal, trying to rise through the earth's surface as a diamond does, but it looking like a piece of coal, but knowing that it has purpose. That's the first layer of being a diamond, and then rising to through the extreme pressure and temperature and having to endure all that we have to endure in life, all the trials, the tribulations, the struggles, but fighting through that to get to the top of the earth's surface is a diamond. And being diamond cut is the balance, really maintaining the balance of not really size and the proportion, but more so the balance of as to how much light is reflected throughout the diamond, not shining, because that's where essentially the brilliance lies. It's the reflection of the light through the diamond, and that's what gets, us women are like, woo, we want diamonds, but it's the reflection of the light and how it's blinging. And so the correlation between that and my life has been, that's why I wrote the album, because I saw that there was a direct correlation. And once you get to the top of the Earth's surface, because we're all diamonds and we all go through this transitional process, but once you get to the top of the Earth's surface, sometimes you got to go back under. And you feel like a piece of coal. And you feel like, you have to reinvent yourself. And I mean, it's extremely, it's reflective of this pandemic that we're in. A lot of us have been still, and we haven't been able to do the things that we're used to doing that bring us comfort and bring us joy. But it's about really digging into the abundance of what we are given, and not the lack. Not seeing it as lack, but the abundance. And then again, moving through that process of it not feeling good, but rising through the temperature and pressure, and then getting on the top and reflecting the light and pouring it back in, and then going back under. So beginning with your first statement, I think it's definitely a testament of the cycle of light and love.
So, in speaking in light and love, this jazz series, which is a thing, right? It's phenomenal. The artists that are going to be featured, they're all individually and collectively brilliant, and we're going to see that in this series. But in this series, we have a person that I have like the highest respect for, Kean Howard.
Yes,
I'm
my
always talking
brother.
about, and he talked about earlier. He was talking about protecting the protection of our energy and the spaces and how we go into it, and understanding how we have to be ambassadors
That's
for
right.
the people that are connected to us in our frequency in that way. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it, because one of the things that you do that's phenomenal, right, is that, like, we see you, Tia Fuller, right? We see you ranking number 6 or 7. I know you wouldn't say, but you up there with like J Lo and Gaga with the diamond cut dress. But then you be the same one that on your Instagram you'll go and take a pot full of dirt and be like, oh, I'm doing this extra. Like, you're not trying to always be glamorous. You embrace all the whole dimension of you, but you also show the rawness of your natural beauty and your natural essence. And I wonder, where did that come from? Because it just doesn't seem new to you. It seems like if you were primed for excellence before you can speak. And so I wonder, who were your influences for that?
Oh, well, I appreciate that, Misael, because I think growing up in a household of educators, musicians, but my mom was very instrumental and intentional in what we read, what was surrounding us. And even till this day, we have a sign up on what used to be our playroom door. It's a bedroom in the house. And it's this ballerina in this pink chiffon dress. And it says, if I can imagine it, I can achieve it. If I can dream it, I can become it. In all of my life, I would be playing with my Barbies and, easy bake oven. And I would see that up on the door. And I didn't understand it until more recently. And I was like, my mom was brainwashing in a good way, but like surrounding us, my sister and I and my brother, with affirmation. And I think it's important that not only do we have to affirm others, but we have to affirm ourselves, and we truly have to watch the internal narrative that we're speaking to ourselves, because many times we can dig ourselves into a ditch. Mm-hmm. But of course, we have to balance that out, like the balancing and the proportioning of a diamond, meaning that, okay, also carry that element of humility. And then, like my brother Keon said, the element of protection, and really being us having an obligation toward this music of, we are vessels. We are vessels for this music to innately move through, so that we can serve the higher calling and the purpose of what our Creator wants us to do here. So it's not about us, essentially. Yes, we do have to do the work. Yes, we do have to practice. Yes, we have to be relentless and diligent and persistent and do the stuff that we don't feel like doing and the sacrifice. But once we get up on stage and once we have a message of either blowing through an instrument, getting to our instrument, writing music, even speaking, it's about relinquishing and surrendering. And so I'm really thankful, and you told me not to cry, and this here I am.
I'm like, yeah, you know
but that's what it's about. That's what it's about, and I'm so thankful that you created this space, Misael, because this is such a beautiful, and the spirit here is right. It's right, and you've been digging in.
No,
and
wait.
so
it's about you, Mama.
I'm just saying, thank you for creating this opportunity in this such a sacred space. Because the first time I stepped foot in here, I was like, what? I felt like I was being transported to like another world, or to Atlanta, like an Atlanta speakeasy lounge. And I see Atlanta as like a second home because I went to undergrad there. But it felt like home when I walked in here. And so thank you for creating this.
Well, it is home. I want to tell you that I first heard and experienced you as an educator. And before I dove into your music, that now I be telling you, on this album, this song says this. And wait a minute, you were talking about a warrior at this. But now I feel a little more versed because I got you. But I saw you as an educator, and the way that you pour into your students, and then the way you pour into your art. I realized I was trying to figure out what was the string that I was following, because there was something. And what I figured out was, like, it was when you schooled me, because you schooled me, and in the best way. I loved it.
What?
Because you told me, I was like, man, Tia, this is a natural born talent. And you were like, wait, but I want this discipline. This ain't about me just walking into rooms. I'm disciplined. And the discipline that you put in every area of your life, I think, is what's also shining and exemplifying your purpose. Because we could all have purpose and none of us do nothing with it. Mm-hmm. And so you're just so disciplined. And how do you feel that you transition that motivation to the young people in the lives that you've been working with? How do you connect them to kind of understand the importance of that discipline?
Music is a manifestation of our life. So the issues that they come in with, and I thank God, I mean, I'm learning to read spirits better, but I watch my students, and I actually have a student over here, but I watch my students on a weekly basis, and if something's wrong, like if something is altered in their energy, where they're a little bit lower one week, I'm like, what's wrong with you? And I'll go like, what's going on today? Well, I just broke up with my girlfriend or my boyfriend, or I'm like, okay, that's all right, because this is life. And with that, with their life experience, we take that and we put it into the music. How can you use this music to empower yourself? How can you use this music to reiterate and change that narrative, maybe that negative narrative that somebody imprinted on your brain, for you to come out of that and rise out of that? So it's really a tool for empowerment. And another thing, I just watched this video, T.D. Jakes video, and I forgot the name of the video, but one of the things that he was saying is that the little things, or the little things, the big things are the little things. Meaning that it's about the minutia, not the macro. Macro is a culmination of the micro. So really being diligent and looking at, okay, how are we honoring ourselves? If we say that we're going to do something, are we going to be on time? If we say that we're going to clean our room, are we going to do it halfway, as my mom used to say, half? Or are you going to go all the way in to where you start establishing this relationship with yourself, that everything that you touch, everything that you move forth in, you're moving forward in a way that it's gold, boom. Or at least you're striving for that. And even if it's not 100%, if you can only hit 80%, you're exhausting that 80% and you're digging deeper. It's like, well, at least I've surrendered now. I can surrender now because I know that I've been able to do the very best that I could on the small things. So that later on, when it's about the big things, the breaks or the record deals, that you're able to walk in and say, oh, this is a muscle that I've been building my entire life. So it's a culmination of what I've been doing already. So you just continue to walk in what you have continued to build. So those are the lessons that I try to share.
The other thought that I have for you, and I would pose it as, help me to understand if this even statement or perception is something you've heard or how you've translated. If someone would say to you, Tia, not only are you killing it in the game, but it's such a male-dominated industry, and particularly for where you stand. What does that sound like to you when you're being recognized, acknowledged? Does that language even make sense? Is it appropriate? And I know you're going to go to the humility of it because you're just so humble and you never look at yourself as a platform. But if there's other sisters that you see that are trying to open up these pathways, what would you say to a statement of that nature?
The statement of
you're not only doing well, but you're killing it in a male-dominated. Because they always want to put that.
Yeah.
And so I wonder how does that sound, and how do you respond to that? For young ladies that are looking up and hearing the same thing.
So that response is always a byproduct. It has always been a byproduct, because for me as an 18-year-old senior who chose this path, I only wanted to become the best musician that I possibly could. I wasn't trying to be the best girl musician or chick player. I mean, that wasn't even in the conversation that I was having with myself. It was about, how can I be the best musician? And I talked to some other women who are out here, and of course we deal with sexism. Of course, it's a patriarchal society, unfortunately, and we're doing some things to shift that, and it's a westernized society. But in light of that, I don't think that I have really tried for that not to become a part of my narrative and a part of the things that I'm focusing on, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It matters when you put your instrument to your mouth and you play, and what you're able to do with that. Now, of course, I am a woman, so and I have learned actually to embrace certain aspects of my womanhood. I didn't used to wear skirts on stage. I was trying to blend in when I first moved to New York. And it's like, how am I going to blend in when I'm still a woman? I'm up there wearing baggy pants and, so, and that was something that Beyonce really helped me to do, just being around in that female empowerment, just the whole idea of female empowerment. But alongside of that is I would just tell young ladies to just move in their strength and be careful or be conscious of who they're surrounding themselves with. Because I read something where it said, the 3 closest people to you are who you are. It's a culmination of who you are, your character. So just be careful who you're surrounding yourself with, what you're reading, that you have accountability partners, that you know your friends, who are the friends that you can open up to, who are the friends that are going to either drain you, all these different things. But to really tap into their own power and move forward in faith and not fear. Allow faith to be the directive always, because that's where we're able to tap into the abundance.
So I would want to say to you that whether it's a young woman, a young boy, a gender, however they show up in the world, that I appreciate not only what you said, but what I appreciate the most is what you modeled to us. And I appreciate you constantly putting the discipline to model what you say.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Misso. I love you.
I love you more. All right.